Well, let's talk now to the technology journalist, Chris Stokel-Walker. Good to see you back on the programme, Chris. Thanks for talking to us. So we were talking there about the legal story of this fraud case. But what does the conviction of Sam Bankman-Fried, a huge player in the industry, mean for cryptocurrency more broadly?
I think it's a huge blow. Sam Bankman-Fried was as close as you can get to a poster boy for the cryptocurrency sector. He was feted by Forbes. Traditional finance and technology publications used to see him as kind of the person that would spearhead this new revolutionary technology, the idea of decentralized finance, where you don't have an individual or a single organization or central bank distributing all of the money that is going on there. And as we've kind of heard a little bit before, there are these benefits to cryptocurrency, the idea of not having a single point of control, but that also becomes a little bit of an issue when you are trusting those individuals with enormous power who haven't necessarily got the checks and balances in the past. So, Sam Bankman-Fried, for instance, was once sort of deemed potentially to be a presidential candidate. He thought himself that he had a 5 to 10% chance of one day becoming president because of such of the power that he had and the kind of the presentation that he saw elsewhere. But obviously, now that he has been indicted of these things and convicted and soon to learn his fate, I think that has a huge knock-on effect on the wider sector.
And cryptocurrency really had a bit of an image problem in some cases already, didn't it? Viewed with scepticism, something outside the mainstream. We've heard it called, it's resembling a Ponzi scheme, and this won't have helped that perception.
Yeah, this is not the first issue that cryptocurrency has faced. From heists such as the Mt. Gox heist, where hundreds of millions of dollars of investment in cryptocurrencies were taken away, to other similar issues where we've seen people who are at the top of these piles, the people who are sort of controlling the key points of infrastructure within the cryptocurrency industry and are essentially trusting people to believe them that they are honest and truthful, then actually going back against that. This is far from the first time. We've seen this happen basically every few months in small scale and every couple of years in a large scale. Now, one of the things that's really interesting is there is a sort of attempt to self-regulate, to self-police, to identify these issues and raise them with the community before they become an issue. One of the reasons why Sam Bankman-Fried's downfall, I think, has been quite so quick is that there was a competitor, someone who ran a similar exchange, who started posting on social media their concerns around this. But yeah, you're right, it does have this massive public relations issue for, frankly, a sector that is still trying to find its feet amongst the general public.
Well, self-regulation, one thing, but we heard John saying there that the former head of the SEC said if crypto is to flourish, it must be regulated. Are we now at the point where crypto can flourish, and does that require regulation?
I think that it requires regulation to have the attempt to flourish. I'm not entirely sure, given all of these headlines, because frankly, most of the headlines that the average person will have seen around cryptocurrency are inevitably negative. You have the kind of boom and bubble of cryptocurrency, where lots of people got incredibly rich as the price of Bitcoin and other crypto assets became really, really quite significant. But then after that, we saw the bust. And so in the same way that we saw those people kind of making millions, we saw them lose millions as well. And then you add to that the issue of these kind of essentially charlatans, people who have done wrong and stolen people's money or used it in a nefarious way. It all has this big public relations perception issue. Now, yes, regulation I think is going to come. We know already that the US authorities are keen on that and others elsewhere. I think that will cause an inherent tension because the founding principles of cryptocurrency and the founding principles of the technology behind it is that you don't need that, is that actually the community can police itself. But as we've seen, not really possible.
Chris, good to talk to you. Thank you for joining us. That's Chris Stokel-Walker, the technology journalist.